Happy Friday, everybody. I'm gonna wait just a minute. I thought it would be better just to go on and pop on here, and then that way y'all can start coming on. So I'm gonna wait just a minute. And as you pop on, be sure and say hey, tell me where you are tuning in from. And I love just to see the city and your location and see the community of people all over the country that love rescuing and restoring furniture. So I'm going to give just a minute and let you pop on. Hey, April. Hey, guys. Now, I'm going to ask for my team in Memphis. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Alyssa. I'm going to ask for my team in Memphis if they would to go on and post here in the group for you to be able to have the code. And let me tell you what we do. We have a special thing that we do that on Fridays when I teach you how to do a finish or technique, that we give you a code so that way, hey Patricia, hey Koki, that we give you a code to be able to purchase the product at a discount. So I'm going to ask, hey Kay, hey Gretchen, I'm going to ask Brooke and Mary Margaret and Alex and the team there in Memphis if they would do that for me, that they would post that code that you can use. And here's the other thing. If you share this video and tag some good friends that love crafting, crafting a beautiful life and doing finishes, if you share this video, your name goes in for a drawing, and we will be announcing the winner on Monday. And we're going to actually send you the products that I am working with, and I'm going to pay to ship it to you. So, hey, Zoe from Florida. Hey, Jessica. So, hey, Allison. So, hey, Becky. So, as you pop on here, of course, just say hey, share this video, tag some friends. And you're so sweet, Gretchen. Thank you. And that way, share this video because I want to give away some product to you guys. All right. So I also want to give a shout out to the Finish Snob Society. And I have to tell you the background on that. We just had our retreat here last weekend. It seems like forever. But we just had a great retreat here. And if any of you ever have the opportunity, when we make the announcement, I will tell you, we will be having another retreat in May, and we'll be doing the announcement. Hop on that. Hop on that train. You don't want to miss it. I watch people, how they come in, how they don't know each other. They're from everywhere. And when they meet each other and they connect, and we're creative, and we're in here in the studio, and we're laughing and carrying on and having such a good time, you forge friendships that you will have for the rest of your life. So it really is a very sweet time. And I have the honor and the privilege of being the mother maker to be able to kind of create and unite all these amazing creatives. Well, this past group, they dubbed themselves the Finish Snob Society, because when you come into this world and you really start seeing what you can create and do, you want to be able to up your game and really create beautiful finishes. So what I want to show you today is there's some trending, you'll see this, and it's called blackwashing furniture. Now, we can go over whitewashing furniture, cerusing in that world, but now we're going into, people are doing what's called, it is trending, you can Google it. What is trending is called blackwashing furniture, and it's very simple, but it's a totally different look than if you were doing a cerusing type of finish. Now, you can do this with wax too, and I can show you. You can do it with wax. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on and put my wax, my Better with Age up here so it reminds me. But it's really easy to be able to create with the one step. So let's go into why, and this is why I like teaching you, because I like to delve down, and if I can unlock the part that we have a tendency a lot of times to get confused, and if you have a clear understanding of that, then that way you're like, I think I can do this. So in order to create a black wash effect, we're going to have to create a glaze. And so the two products that we're going to be working with is we're going to be working with my One Step in black, and then we're also going to be working with glazed over. Now, part of what you need to understand is why we use glazed over. The glaze allows us to be able to thin the finish, to thin the paint. It is a varnish, but it's also the consistency as far as allowing it to go into a glaze type form. The one-step paint is very thick. It's all about really good coverage. It has a calcium carbonate base, which is chalk. But the beauty of the one-step is the fact that it is a very matte finish. And so the beauty of the matte finish, a lot of people will say, well, Amy, can I use a miracle paint to do a black wash effect? You can, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. I would say let's stay with the water-based one-step, and we're going to be much happier with the end result, and it's going to be a lot easier to work with. So without further ado, I'm going to go on and turn my camera around so that way I can have it to where you can see the surface area that I'm working on. Again, as you pop on here, say, hey, tell me where you're tuning in from, share this video, your name will go in for a drawing, and we're going to be giving away a lot of the products that I'm working with today, and all you have to do is share the video and tag some good friends. The other thing is there is a code that we will post here on this Facebook page. T, you know what, will you ask the office what is the code for today so that way I can share this? Hey, Amanda Jones from Memphis. Oh my gosh, I love Memphis so much. I need some barbecue. Let me go back. There was a question right here. What color? Hey, Danny. So the color that I'm working with today is actually black. If we're going to do black wash, we're going to use black. So the process that I'm going to teach you today, you could use in different colors as well. So, all right, so let me just turn this around. I'm going to turn this around so that way you can see where I'm working. Here we go. All right. So let me get this positioned. Perfect. All right. So I wanted to show you this first. I wanted to show you how working, and I want to be able to show you the difference. So this is, of course, this is a raw piece of wood. This particular piece of wood has been painted with the black one-step. Just one, I've just done coverage. I just painted it. So this is opaque. It allows you to be able to see the difference between it being raw and just painted. This could very well be something with a finish on it. And then this has been black wash. Now this is just on raw wood, but I wanted you to be able to see the differentiation of what it would be. All right, so the code for today to be able to get 20% off all the products that I'm working with is called Finish Friday 38. March 3rd, March 3rd month, 8th day. So Finish Friday 38. And you can get 20% off all of the products that I'm showing you today. So basically, here's our raw wood. Here is full coverage of the one-step, but then here it is done in more of a black wash. The black wash is going to allow you to be able to see the grain underneath. It's more sheer. And the way to be able to create that, I'm going to show you on another finish that's existing, how you create a wash to be able to call it a black wash. And again, this is trending. This is something that you're going to see all over Pinterest, social media. And I want you to understand not only the how and the why, but how to be able to create it yourself. So it's going to consist of three things. We've got our paint. This is our black one-step. It is a water-based calcium carbonate chalk paint. You want to be able to stay with a very matte finish with this. You do not want to work with an acrylic paint. To be able to go to a craft store or whatever and just get a plain acrylic paint, it's got plastics in it and it's got things that are going to give you that gloss. That is not desirable. We want to work with a very matte finish. So I really like working with the black one-step. So the other thing that you're going to need is water. This is just regular tap water. And then the third thing, it's 3 ingredients, is the glaze. Now look at the glaze. It is a white consistency. It's very thin. It's kind of cloudy. And this is the glazed over. So it's Amy Howard at Home glazed over. So it's 1 part black paint, 1 part water, 1 part glazing liquid. So let's go in and mix these up. So I'm going to get another cup. I like, when I'm working on samples, I really enjoy having these little plastic cups. They're little drink cups. I get them off Amazon, and it allows me to be able to mix them up when I'm going to be creating a finish. So I'm going to go on and pour in my black one-step. And again, It's good if you get a measuring cup, or a lot of times just on the side of my cups, I will, at the same area, I'll just take a Sharpie and I'll just mark it like this. So that way it's all consistent, and I'll allow to use that as my measuring cup. Here's the other tip. You can go to Goodwill, you can go to Habitat and get all kinds of measuring tools there, and I get them for $1. So I suggest doing that as well. All right, so now I'm gonna add my glazed over to my one-step paint. Now look at that. Here's what's interesting. It's white, but it really will not change the color valuation of my black. Now, when I mix it together and you're looking at it, it's like, Amy, that kind of went gray. Trust me, it's going to be black when I get through with it. The glazed over does several things. The glazed over is like a clear type varnish. It makes it really hardy. It thins it out. It keeps it the consistency that I need it to be able to do a wash. Now, what's the next thing I'm going to add? I'm going to add my water. So this is all 3 equal parts. 1 part water, 1 part glazing liquid or glazed over, and 1 part paint. All right. So that's my recipe. So now I'm going to go on and I want to say, if you're working on a piece of furniture that already has a finish on it, it doesn't do much good to you if I show you something that's already, that's raw. You're like, well, Amy, my piece of furniture that I have, or the piece that I want to get, or the piece I want to do this on has got a finish on it. So I've got this that's already stained. Now, if you're working with a piece of furniture that already is stained and has a varnish or a factory lacquer on it, you can go on top of it. Why? One, the black one-step or the one-step formula allows you to be able to go on top of varnish. Couple that with the fact that we're doing the glazed over, it allows us to be able to have a more hardy finish, and so that way you can go directly on top of it. Now, what I would suggest doing is clean slate it. If you're seeing this later, T, could I get you to bring me a clean slate? If you're watching this later, and if maybe you're not as familiar with the Amy Howard at Home products, I have a product that I'm going to show you in just a second. It's called Clean Slate. You do need to make sure you take the wax off of an existing piece. So let's say this is an existing piece and it has a varnish on it from a factory. If you've just gotten it, and maybe that piece has been around for 80 years, 100 years, the top can stay on it, yeah. You want to be able to get the wax off. So the Clean Slate will take the wax off of your furniture and allow you to be able to get down. It's okay to work with it on top of the varnish. Perfectly all right. So now let's say I've clean slated my piece. I've gotten the wax off. I've gotten the liquid gold. You remember that from the 70s and 80s? And I don't know, who knows? It may still be around. But we've gotten the liquid gold off and we're ready to be able to work with it. So I am going to make my glaze. I'm going to go on and mix up my water, my glazed over, and my paint real good. I'm just going to use a chip brush for this. It works just fine. Load up your chip brush. And now I'm going to apply it all over. Now, what I would do anytime I'm doing a glaze or a wash, I want to make sure that I work on it a section at a time. So let's say you're working on a nightstand. Let's take out the drawers and let's do one drawer at a time. We're going to work on the side all by itself, not while we're doing the whole thing. So just do the drawer, or just do the top, or just do the sides. So now I'm getting this all over. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to basically wash it. So I'm going to go on and put my gloves on. I'm trying to be really good about this. Those of you that know me, this has not been a discipline because I like working with my hands so much. So just having these gloves on helps. The other thing is you want to make sure that you wear an apron or protective clothing or paint clothes when you're working with the one step, because it's there. And if it gets in fabric, it's staying. It gets in the fibers of the fabric. And that's part of the reason why we can also use the one step to paint fabric. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I have two options. I can take a brush And I'm going to give you a little bit of a lesson real quick, because I like to do this as a teacher. When I've added my glaze, this is a positive brush. When I have a clean brush and I am going to use it to remove it, what does this become? This becomes a negative tool. So this is a positive tool. There's paint on it. This is a negative tool. So I'm just going to come across my finish like this, and I'm going to start to pull it and pull the paint off. I can do this a couple of different ways. I can use a combination of my rag. This is a lint-free cotton rag. You do not want to use a polyester rag. They won't absorb it. And if you work with a 100% cotton rag, you're going to notice the control that you have when you're doing a wash is so much better. So I'm just going to wash this across it like this. I'm getting down in the crevices. And look how, this is why it's called a wash. It's allowing it to get down into the crevices, but yet I am pulling off some that it would be on top, so it's falling down into it. It's not like a stain, it's a wash. And so a lot of times what I'll do, if I have flatter surface areas where I'm not going to use my rag as much, I'll come back with my negative tool, and you'll notice, do you see the difference? Here is a chip brush. This is a natural chip brush, and this is a synthetic brush. The bristles on this synthetic brush are much firmer, and it allows me to be able to pull and drag my glaze or my black wash on my furniture and take it off, so I get kind of a strié. All right, does that make sense? Good deal. All right, so this is step one. We made our glaze, we mixed it up, we took some of it off. Now, I want you to be able to see, I'm going to turn this over because I want to walk you through the process. Once it dries, let's look at it. See how it dries down in here? Now, I will say this. Somebody that was at the retreat this past weekend was walking around and looking at the finishes, and it was like, these are so much prettier in person. I wished it was where, and hopefully you will be here one day. The finishes really are much prettier. But because I had this raised element, and you will get pieces of furniture that are going to have some raised elements, whether it's a bergère chair, whether it's maybe it's just an OG edge on it, but it will allow you to be able to apply the glaze, wipe it off, and then that way it's left down in the crevices. Now, we're not finished. Let me show you what we're going to do. So now what I like to do is I like to come back, and I'm going to add just a little bit of gold leaf. Now, hang with me all the way through, because a black wash has a tendency to look very flat. And even if you just have a little beading, even if you just have a little molding or something, I think it's great to be able to add just a little bit of either silver leaf or gold leaf. So I'm going to take, this is size, S-I-Z-E, size, and basically it is a special kind of glue for gold leaf, silver leaf, copper leaf. I'm just dipping my artist brush into my size. Now look what I'm doing. I'm taking off almost all of it. Now, instead of holding it like this, where my fingers are this way, look what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn my hand around, and I'm going to hold my brush like this. Why? Well, because when I've got areas like this and I don't want solid gilding, I'm going to roll it. So now I'm just going to roll this. I'm going to load it back up. Guys, as you pop on here, please say hi. Tell me where you're tuning in from. If you've never tuned in before, my name is Amy Howard, and I am the creative and mother maker and founder of Amy Howard at Home, where we love to teach you how to craft a beautiful life. You know, there's something very empowering, especially as women, not to minimize the guys that watch us, but for a woman, for us to be able to create a beautiful home, it's an extension of ourselves. Would y'all not agree? We can invite people into our homes. We can do things that we've created. Having a beautiful home isn't about spending a lot of money. It's about learning the techniques and the processes to be able to replicate the things that are expensive. So I've always joked and laughed in the fact that people think I spend a lot of money on my interiors. I'm just a really good thrifter, and I'm a good DIYer. And so I love teaching you how to be able to do that. All right, so now when we're doing a black wash on furniture, again, why am I doing this? Because it has a tendency to go very dead flat. It goes down into the crevices and it can be beautiful, but let's kick it up just a little bit. So now I'm gonna fan this. I'm gonna raise this up just a little bit. As you pop on here, please say hey. And you'll notice I have a code today. The code that you can enter when you check out, it's called Finish Friday 38, and it'll give you 20% off your size, your the one-step paint, the glazed over, the brushes, the waxes, everything that I'm using today, you'll be able to get 20% off. All right, so now why am I fanning this? Good point. As you notice when I was putting it on, it was white. As it starts to dry down, the size will go to be clear. So I'm fanning this so that way it dries. Now let's go back down here just a little bit closer. We're almost finished, hang with me. So now when I applied it, it was white. I could see where I was putting it. And as it starts to dry down, it'll be shiny, but it's not gonna be white anymore. So now I'm gonna take my gold leaf, and you'll notice how the gold leaf has a spine. It's like a book. And it has pages, and usually there's about 25 pages in a book of leaf. So I'm just gonna open this up. I've used this before. I've actually used this book. And I'm pulling back that tissue, and I'm working with the entire book. Now watch this. I'm gonna flip it over, and I'm gonna pull that tissue out at the same time. While this is laying here, I'm going to press it into the size that I put down. This is not about the gold leaf being everywhere, because I am wanting to just kind of kick up the black wash that I did, and I want to be able to add a little bit of highlighting. T, can I ask another favor? Could I have some steel wool? All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to take our tissue and we're going to burnish it just a little. Again, this is not water gilding. This is not doing this perfect job. I wanted just a little bit of detail on my raised elements. And you can do the same thing at home when you are rescuing a piece of furniture. Now, what are we going to do? I'm going to take another clean brush, and I'm going to start. It's a synthetic brush, and it's pretty hard. It's got some density to it as far as being able to clean this off. So now I'm going against it like this, and I'm getting off the excess. So now do you see why I rolled it on? Look at that. I rolled it on because I didn't want it everywhere. Now I'm going to come back with some 4/0 steel wool, and I'm just going to kind of go over this again. I am just wanting a suggestion here. This is about accentuating my black wash on my furniture. That's just a glaze. It's just water, glaze, and paint. And you can get it to a lot of different degrees in which you want it. So now do you see? I've got my black wash that's down in my crevices. It's here. It's turned it. It's no longer the stain anymore. I've got the black over it, but I can still see the wood through it, and that's okay. So now I have steel wooled it. I've got it to where it's cut back just a little bit. So now what are we going to do? Can you guess? We're going to take a little bit of our light antique wax. This has been loved and used over a long period of time. Can you tell? And I'm loading up my brush. I'm going to always offload it. That's what I do. And then I'm going to come back on top of it. Now, what you're going to notice, we were working on top of an existing stained piece. It had factory varnish on it. We clean slated it. And now, as the black it kind of fell back. When you start to do the wax on it, that black pops out again. It has a beautiful patina. I am very happy with how it's going to look. And I want to make sure that I put on enough wax to be able to get down into the crevices. Now, if I've got a lot of card surface, this is what I'll normally do. I'll pounce it. Why? If I'm just brushing it on the top, it's laying on the top. If I pounce it, that wax will get down into the crevices. Because what we want to do is we want the dust of ages to go down in there. The dust of ages does two things. It acts as a polishing agent, but it also gets down into the crevices, so it gives us depth. It's a visual depth. So you've got your stain that you had on your existing piece. We did our black wash. We did our leaf on top. And now we've got our wax. And by adding the dust, it's a polishing agent, but it's going to go down in there as well. Now, here's the other thing. I really want to make sure you understand this at home. If I'm touching this right now, and you know what it's doing? It's greasy. Because I've applied this wax, and I'm feeling it has not come to tack yet. I need it to come to tack. T-A-C-K, tack. Please, 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 if you don't learn anything, I want to make sure that you understand that don't put the dust of ages on before your wax has come to tack. Because if you put it on too soon, it's just going to go black. So I'm going to fan this just a little bit with my cardboard. And it's going to allow me to be able to see. Now, of course, if it's summertime here and it's really hot as blue blazes in this building, I'm going to get tack a little bit faster. I use a lot of weird things, don't I? I've got T. She's young. She laughs at what I say. All right. So now I'm going to go in and add my dust of ages. You want to make sure that you use a clean brush. What did I do again? I pounced it because that way it's getting down into the crevices. And now I'm going to buff my black wash. So now I can do a couple of things. I'm going to get just a little bit out. The other thing you're going to notice this is going to do, it's going to make the black wash finish gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Now, here's something else I want you to see. Look at the patina that has on it. That wax really starts to give you a little bit of sheen. This is before buffing. And this is one that I have gone in and buffed a little bit more. I wish you could see it here in person. I can see my black wash down in here. I've been able to transform just a regular stained piece with some black wash that I can keep it more neutral if I want to. But I just like kicking it up just a little bit like this. And I think it starts to enhance the black wash that we have down in there. So, let me see if I can turn this around. All right, so here's what I want you to understand. The black wash is basically just like a whitewash. I can mix glazing liquid, paint, and water. Mix it together, that makes my glaze. Let's say you have a home and it's coastal. Then take your favorite blue. I would go more into the lighter to the medium value blue and do a blue wash over it. You can have a piece that is white and do a wash. It's pretty when you do have a stained finish. If you've got a piece of furniture and it is a stained finish and there's a factory lacquer finish on it that it's sealed, you can still do this. And I would be careful to do brighter colors on top of dark stain. Why? Because the value, we call it the LRV or the light reflective value, they'll fight a little bit. But to do a black wash on top of an existing stained piece is beautiful. And as you see by what we did today, it's really, really easy. Can you see that? So easy. So guess what? Now it's your turn to enjoy the bragging rights. I want to see what you do with your black washing and even try the gilding. And the great thing about it is today, when I do these Finish Fridays, it allows you to be able to use the code Finish Friday 38. Just go to the website, you can order your supplies, and it's going to give you 20% off because you were kind enough to watch today. Share this video, tag some good friends that love to DIY, and I'll see you back here next Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your encouragement. Finish Sob Society, we miss y'all too.